Bop, 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 bop. Holy shit. What a day in the UFC MMA fighting world. We have got UFC 279 Las Vegas that just took an absolute roller coaster turn. We were supposed to have Nate Diaz, Khamzat-Holland with a co-main event of Li Jingliang against Tony Ferguson, as well as another fight, Kevin Holland versus D-Rod. Now they are all swapped. We get Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson, Legends Delight in the main event. We also get Kevin Holland, who's been talking a lot of smack against Hamza this week. Interesting matchup there. And D-Rod's going to fly in against Leach, up 10 pounds. So we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to break down the picks at the end of this. Off rip, Hamza misses weight by 7.5 pounds. I mean, that is not a good look. As a big Hamza guy myself, it's not a good look. I get that he didn't really have to even be in that position in the first place. That fight meant nothing. It's a really bad look when you got, the UFC's biggest star on the biggest stage and you're missing by that much. It all worked out, but that could have been really bad luck. Goosey, what do you think about this whole situation that's panning out right here?
Dude, I think it is a bad look for Hamza. I mean, you sign a contract to make 171 pounds on September 9th and fight on September 10th. He shows up, he's causing problems all week, and then he misses by 7.5 pounds, which that 178 mark's interesting because how things are working out, it seems like the UFC is falling on its feet again, which without a little plan in place would be very, very hard to do in this scenario, I feel like. So definitely could be some things going on behind the scenes too. They said that they had doctors sent to Hamzat's room for the weight cut and they told him to stop cutting weight. And I mean, Hamzat definitely isn't in good shape if they're saying that, but at the same time, they could have just been setting this fight up, to be honest, because Hamza wasn't even going to weigh in. They told him, Hamza, go weigh in, go weigh in. Made 178. Now we're talking about him versus Kevin Holland.
Super weird. 178 just stops trying. And then coincidentally, we got Kevin Holland and D-Rod doing a catch weight at 180. It's like, man, it really feels like they had a feeling in this one. Another big topic is we didn't even get the press conference. We're all waiting. It's 7 p.m. ET. We're waiting for these boys to come out. And a brawl breaks out backstage. Dana comes out, tells the fans, yeah, we're not doing this for your safety. So I think everyone gets the hint there. Everyone's like, oh, boy. Them boys are getting after it in the back. Rumors come out. It's Holland and Chimaev. It's Nate Diaz's camp and Chimaev's camp. It's just an all-around, free-for-all in the backstage. I don't know if that had anything to do with this. It just seems like this whole chaotic moment of days, like this whole series of this weekend is just really chaotic. And I think it's working in Nate Diaz's favor, man, because a lot of eyes are tuning in now. Everyone's seeing Tony's getting this step up. Like, they didn't even really know about the fight, a lot of casual fans, and then all of a sudden it's, what's going on with the UFC today? What is this? Who is this? And we're going to get a lot more pay-per-view buys. And for a guy like Nate Diaz who plans on packing his bag and hitting the Jake Paul route or wherever the heck he wants to go, this is going to boost his value, Let's get into some specific matchups. All right, let's start with the third to last fight that we're going to see on this card. It's going to be D-Rod versus the Leech. Leech's going to have that 10-pound advantage. Where do you see this fight, man?
Looking at it, I was kind of back and forth. At the end of the day, I think D-Rod having that extra 10 pounds today at the weigh-ins, very easy weight cut for him, I'm imagining. I mean, in a close fight, I got to give him the edge because I know he's been out for a while, but a year isn't anything crazy. I know he's had the hand surgeries, but he's training hard. He's in good shape. He weighed in. He looked good. I definitely see the ways that Li Jingliang can win this fight, but I think he stepped into a much harder style matchup for him than Tony Ferguson.
Facts. I'm actually going to take the opposite side of this, but I could see this being a banger. But I could see D-Rod. If D-Rod wins, I could see him being a really technical inside boxer and really getting those hands loose like, his stat card show and really just touching up Leech. Or I could see, Leech really just keeping his distance and jumping in with bigger shots, making some big moments happen. I think that him taking this fight against a guy 10 pounds up gives you a little bit of a hint too. And I know a year is not that long, but just for me, I need to see D-Rod get back in there and shake it up before I bet on those 3 hand surgeries. But either way, that's gonna be a firecracker, and that could go either way. Let's go into the next boot, the co-main. What are you thinking here, man? We got Kevin Holland taking this fight, the known not good wrestler, fighting debatably the hottest prospect wrestler in the UFC right now. What are you thinking about this, Goosey, off rep?
I mean, it's definitely a bad matchup. Um, I obviously, all things equal, Hamzat's just going to be having an easier weight cut and still being bigger than Holland. It's not like Holland has a big weight advantage. He's a 170 pounder, and Hamzat is a 185 pounder fighting at 170. That being said, the line comes out, it's like -5, 600 for Hamzat. I mean, if what the UFC is saying is true, he was having full body cramps. He couldn't cut any more weight. It was so bad that they had to stop him 7 pounds short. I mean, Holland's hard to get out of there and he hits hard. If there's any, restrictions on that power, that gas tank, Holland could expose him tomorrow. He's hard to finish. Plus 450 or whatever. I mean, it might be worth it, but Hamzat's probably going to look good.
Yeah, and he did get it at 5 rounds because he does see that, everyone seems to think that that's the flaw with Hamza is get him the 4 or 5, but we're going to have to wait to see that happen. In this one, I am just going to, play it Hamza. I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to get an early finish. I think he's really good at just getting these smaller guys, these skinnier dudes, really just doing what he wants with them. I think he gets a first round rear naked choke. And if he doesn't, I'll be concerned. I'm not gonna lie, because as long as this fight does go, Kevin Holland has pop through 5 rounds. We've seen it. We've seen him drop guys like Marvin Vittori, not drop, but stunt. Uh, you
Punch his
know,
mouthpiece out. That's hard to do.
he stings guys, and he stings guys for 25 minutes. So, if Hamzat can't get this job done, I see this as just, like what people were saying with the Nate matchup. It's almost
Mhm.
it's almost you can always think of this as like this is like a better version of Nate going in there. I mean, this guy doesn't get finished at all either. You could take that how you want it, but Hamzat should get the job done. But plus
Yeah.
450, there's some value on Kevin Holland. That is for sure. I'm gonna take
Especially
Hamzat.
because, I mean, you look at it, Hamzat definitely good chin, but Marvin Vittori has a pretty elite chin, and Kevin Holland's had him about as rocked as I've seen him in the UFC. So if they can get into the later rounds, it's going to be hard. Holland has the tools to make this an interesting fight for sure.
Not to mention he's got knockouts from bottom position against Jacare Souza. So I mean, the guy's still throwing bombs from the bottom. Definitely value there. I wouldn't put too much on it, but it's definitely worth a sprinkle. We're
Even that
moving in.
that Buckley KO is aging well after last week. That chin's pretty sturdy.
Yeah. No, yeah. That Holland KO. That one's a big one. All right, let's talk about the main event a little bit here. Let's talk about the main event a little bit here. We get this MMA God granted gift. We get Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz, the fight that should have happened years ago. We get it in 2022 for all these young new fans to reminisce about. I'm so fired up. I think elbows McGee. I think Tony's bringing nonsense. I mean, this guy's a psychopath. He's off 2-year spark job. I think he's looking to make a big statement. I know that Nate Diaz had all this hype, but I feel like he loses a little bit of substance, not getting that Hamzat match. And I think Tony kind of elevates, moving up to that main event. I think El Kukui is a guy you don't have to worry about gassing. And I think El Kukui is a guy you don't have to worry about on the ground as much. Remember when Charles almost broke his arm, but he wouldn't tap? The guy's a freaking beast. I think Tony edges this out. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a knockout late, but I think he edges it out. I think it's a back and forth war. What do you think?
Okay, so starting it off, I picked Nate to beat Hamza, so I'm gonna have to pick him to beat Tony here. I think those things go hand in hand. Um,
Yeah, facts.
maybe that's a little bit of delusion on my part, but I saw the style matchup. I think that this is a pretty good style matchup because they're both same age, but I think Nate is aging a little bit better. Maybe he has a little more damage on his face, but I mean, you see the hairline still there. He's a big dude. Tony has been fighting at 155. He had 3 months to get ready for 170. And for this fight, I'm going to be saying a lot of the same things that I said for Li Jingliang. I think Tony has packed the weight kind of on his stomach and a little bit of muscles. His cheeks look a little bit more defined, but that's telling me that the cardio is not going to be as elite as it was. And then you put all that with him getting brutally knocked out just 3 months ago still, which was going to be a factor in the Leach fight, I thought. I mean, Tony hits a mean, or Nate hits a mean one too. You know, he doesn't have that super crisp and crazy power, but if Tony has any chin deficiencies, Nate's going to put a few on there, and all it takes is a wobble, a drop to your knee, and then who knows? It could be putting it on him. So I don't know if he'll go out cold, but I do think that Nate touches that chin.
Let's go. That means it's going to be a barn burner. We're all locked in. This kind of was a fucking shit show, but it all turned into a piece of freaking platinum gold, baby. So tune in. Geeks will be on the scene from home, and
Yeah.
we are going to be killing it, man. We're going to be killing the game. Watch out for the Geek Sheet, and we're coming out with more content. All right, Geeks are it.
America, motherfucker.